Hirschman Index. Now, what is exactly HHI or Herfindahl-Hirschman Index? This is actually to assess the degree of market concentration in an industry. Like, for instance, if you have, say, pharmaceutical companies, okay? So, what is the market concentration of these pharmaceutical companies? If you have, say, companies like Google and similar companies like Google, and what is their concentration in the whole market? Okay, so this is what HHI calculates. It's not very difficult to calculate this if you know the um, if you know the market share of each of these companies. Okay, so if you know the market share of say Google, you know the market share of Microsoft, you know the market share of Apple, then you can actually look at the concentration of the companies who fall in this particular sector, that is the IT sector. So now, if we have to calculate the Herfindahl index, let me just share with you this particular document. I will also upload it in each of your classes. Let me share this. Yeah, I hope you're able to see this.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So this is called the Herfindahl-Hirschman Index, and it's an index that measures the market concentration of an industry. A highly concentrated industry is one where only a few players in the industry hold a large percentage of the market share, like the blue ocean strategy, right? Where you have very few players, thus leading to a monopolistic situation. Whereas when you say low degree of concentration, that means the industry is closer to a perfect competition scenario where many firms. So when we talk of low degree of concentration, we are talking about more companies who are part of the whole market or the industry. It is used to monitor the potential impact of mergers and acquisitions on an industry. Also for industries to know where they stand in the competitive scenario. So if there are 10 companies operating in the same sector, each of them will also know through HHI as to where they stand, what is it that they need to do in order to increase their market share. So this is a calculation of what is the market share you possess vis-a-vis the market share of all those industries in the same segment. And it is actually a quantitative measure that regulators can cite to veto and on, especially when you have mergers and acquisitions and they have to calculate the market share. They have to understand whether these mergers and acquisitions will really work well for the organization. That's when HHI really comes into play. The lower the HHI, the more power consumers hold in that industry. Okay, so when your HHI is lower, that means the consumer's power is higher. You will have more companies in that particular. So it's more of a red ocean. The lower your HHI, it's a red ocean. The higher your HHI, it's a blue ocean. Prices are usually lower when obviously, the margins are compressed. Let me give you an example here straight away, how to calculate it. Yeah. So let us look at this example, which is very, very clear. Consider an American industry comprising of 8 firms with market shares of 35%, 20%, 6%, 4%, 3%, 10%, and 13%, and 9%. So these are the percentages of market share that each of these firms have. They are operating in the same industry, same segment. And then you square the market share. Okay. So when you square the market share, you get these figures 1225, 400, 36, and so on. And then you total up the square of the market share. And then what you see in the above table, we see that HHI of the industry in question is 2036, which classifies it as a moderately concentrated industry. Anything less than 1,500 is low HHI, which is between 1,500 to 2,500 is moderate HHI, and beyond 2,500 is high HHI. So when it is low HHI, that means the industry concentration is more, in the sense that there are more companies in that particular sector. The buying power is higher. Okay, the bargaining power is higher. The power of the consumer is higher. Whereas when it is moderate, yes, I think there is a power that the buyer has, power that the seller has. But when it is higher, the power of the consumer is lower, because it's a monopolistic market. Okay. So this is what HHI is. Not very important, but yes, it is essential for you to know that HHI is a kind of calculation that companies do, especially when they want to know where do they stand vis-a-vis their competitors. So if you again look at this, there is an interpretation that is given here. We see that HHI of the industry in question is 2036. That is overall industry HHI for that particular industry. For instance, if it is, say, pharma, it is 2036, which classifies it as, so when we are talking about pharma, probably first one would be Cipla, second one would be Dabur, and so on. Okay, Reddy's, and so on. So overall, it is 2036, which classifies it as a moderately concentrated industry. Further, M&As led by the firm A could potentially raise the HHI by more than 200 points. So if at all, say company A, which is 1225, is the highest, okay, and company A goes in for a merger, it can add to another 200 points and even push the index to 2,500. So this can be further pushed when you are able to add up or merge with another organization. So obviously their market share will add up to your market share, right? And that is how you will be increasing your market share, and thereby increasing the square of the market share, that is the HHI. So this is how HHI is calculated. There is a formula. We take the percentage market share of each of the firm in an industry, square that number, and then add all the squares together. And that is how we create the Herfindahl-Hirschman index. Okay. So this is something that I will share with you. And going further, let me talk about what we need to prepare on. I'm stopping this. Yes. You can take down, these are the specific models that you need to keep in mind, and also prepare well for the same. Your examination is going to be objective questions. 1 second. To be precise, just hold. Yeah, to be precise, you will have 30 MCQs because it is a half credit course. At other times, you would have had 60 MCQs, but this will be 30 MCQs. You will have also true or false. So part of it will be true or false. That will be a small part of it, around 10 questions. And the other 20 would be based on various aspects of strategic management that you have learned, and that would be a 20 marks for the other part of the MCQs other than the true or false. So in all, it would be 30 marks, 30 MCQs. Please note down, it is strategic clock, Porter's five forces model. If anybody would want to put it in the chat, they can write it in the chat. And then later on, this can become your, you can use it as your revision text. So to repeat, strategic clock, Porter's five forces model, G matrix, stakeholders analysis, BCG, IO model, RBV, resource-based value model, red ocean, blue ocean, Tau's matrix, McKinsey's 7S, HHI, VRIO framework.
Ma'am, can you please repeat again?
HHI,
Yes, ma'am.
VRIO framework, ETOP, SWOT, yeah, I think that's it. If there's anything more that I've done, don't restrict yourself to only this. Please go about with enough of reading from Michael Hitt's book, because from Michael Hitt's book only we usually create our questions. So for the last minute learning, the best is Michael Hitt's book.
Ma'am?
Yeah, balance scorecard. Yeah, I think that's enough. Yeah. Yes, somebody spoke. I don't know who.
Ma'am, it was me, Pravinsha Bansal.
Yeah, Pravinsha.
Ma'am, what was after VIRO framework?
After VRIO framework, what was it? No, I do not know.
ETOP, ma'am. ETOP.
ETOP. ETOP, SWOT. Okay. Pestle. Okay. Another couple of points which are again important. We spoke about the environment, right? We spoke about internal environment and external environment. Now, what does the external environment call for? It calls for scanning, monitoring, forecasting, and assessing. These are 4 important parts of external environments scanning. External environments analysis. I repeat, scanning, monitoring, forecasting, and assessing. Internal organization model, that is the IO model, again is very important, as well as the resource model of above average returns. Again, when we talk about environment, we can differentiate it between general environment, industry environment, and competitor environment. So all the 3 have to be analyzed in order to understand the strategies that companies need to formulate. General environment, industry environment, and competitor environment. Again, for general environment, usually we go for ETOP. We also use a PESTEL model. Right? For the industry environment, we also use Porter's 5 forces model. That's also used, of course, for the competitors. To understand the competitors, you use the Porter's 5 forces model. We also use Tau's matrix here. Tau's matrix, of course, is more used. It's a general understanding. So it is the general environment. We use PESTEL, ETOP, Tau's. And then what does the industry organizational model of above average return say? It can be classified into studying of the external environment, understanding the external environment, attractive industry. So what is attractive industry?
Ma'am, where one can get above average returns.
Yes, where you can see a competitive advantage, where you can actually see above average returns, right? So understanding whether the industry is attractive enough, and then identify the strategy, that is formulate the strategy, then assess or acquire assets and skills, then strategic implementation, moving to superior returns. Okay, so IO model is very important. See, I'm not very sure what exactly is very important. Okay, I'll just keep telling you how you need to prepare. What are those aspects that I have taught you? The question papers are collected from all the faculties who have taught the subject. So only one question paper goes for all the batches. So one paper out of it is picked up. So not very sure which is the paper which faculty has said. Resource-based model, again, you have to understand the resources or the inputs, capability, the competitor's advantage, and then again look at the attractive industry, strategic formulation, implementation, and then leads to superior returns. So resource-based model again is important. Value chain analysis. I think in the model, I don't know whether I've mentioned value chain analysis. Again, value chain analysis is important. It talks about 2 kinds of activities: primary activities and support activities. If you can recollect, I said that the primary activities are again very crucial, which is service, marketing and sales, outbound logistics, operations, and inbound logistics. All these become part of primary activities, which is again a part of the value chain analysis. And if you have to see the support activities, which is the second part of it, is the infrastructure of the firm, the human resource management, the technology, procurement, all this become the support activities. I mean, I'm just giving you a rough idea of it. You have to understand it in depth by reading it. So don't please think that, whatever I'm talking is final revision for you. Final revision happens only when you go through your textbook. So in strategy formulation, we are talking about 3 levels of formulation of strategies: business level, corporate level, and functional level. Okay. So understand that strategy is actually divided into 3 different categories: business level, corporate level, and functional level. And what is business level? I've told you this. The moment you get the word business level, understand that it is something which brings you closest to the customer. That means it is related to either product differentiation or price price leadership or cost leadership. Okay. So when we talk about business level strategies, we are talking about cost leadership, differentiation, focused cost leadership, and focused differentiation. Right? Like cost leadership. We have to look at Maruti 800. Cost leadership. Then we have to look at differentiation. How are we really differentiating the product? Say, maybe if we have to talk about focused differentiation, we can talk about Apple. We can talk about McDonald's. If we have to talk about focused cost leadership, it could be IKEA. But now again, IKEA is coming into a combination of cost leadership as well as differentiation. So you must understand these aspects, so that any question asked on this, you're able to answer. What exactly is competitive strategy? Right? When we say competitive strategy, we are also looking at understanding our competitors. That means you need to do a competitive analysis, understand the drivers of competitive behavior, and then accordingly take competitive action, which leads to the outcome, positive outcome. Again, in competitive analysis, we look at 2 aspects, if you remember: market commonality and resource similarity. Right? When we talk about market commonality, what is market commonality? Anybody?
Ma'am, can you repeat the question?
I was talking about competitive analysis. Okay. And I said in competitive analysis, there are 2 aspects that we need to look at, which is market commonality, and the second is resource similarity. Okay. So market commonality is whether I'm in the same market, in the same sector, common market. For instance, for a Cipla and for a Reddy's, okay, it is a common market. They both belong to the pharma sector, right? So I have to look at the commonality. Only then we are competitors. Second is resource similarity. What is resource similarity? Resource similarity is where I say I have better resources than my competitor. Though our resources are similar, probably the machinery is similar. You have to have, the medical representatives, right, who will reach out to doctors and talk about the the pharma or the medicinal innovations, the new medicines that have come in the market. But these medical representatives who are human resources are similar for both the companies. Probably the machinery is similar. The raw materials are similar. So when you look at resource similarity, you will also try and compare your resources with the competitor's resources and then analyze the competitiveness. So when competitive analysis is taking place, you have to keep in mind the market commonality and the resource similarity. Now, what do we understand by outcome? Right? I said competitive analysis, drivers of competitive behavior, competitive action, which leads to outcome. What is the outcome that we are looking at in the competition? We are looking at above average returns, that is excellent financial performance. And what else? Market position, right? Getting the best market share, being the top in the market position. So you are looking at market position and you're looking at above average returns, that is financial performance. Let me tell you that strategy, ultimately, the outcome of every strategy is to create this. The uniqueness out of every organization in comparison to their competitors, that is creating better market share and a leading market position, and also building up strength in their financial performance. Strategy ultimately boils down to these outcomes. So we talked about business level strategy, which again is, the strategy that brings you closest to the customer, which delves deeper into cost as well as differentiation, that is product. So price and product are the main aspects here. Of course, you can also include the other piece, promotion, place, positioning. So basically all related to product and price. Corporate level strategies. So what is corporate level strategy? It is at the corporate functioning, right? At the corporate level, at the decisions which need to be taken by the top management, which includes whether I need to diversify, whether I need to merge, whether I need to acquire new businesses, whether I need to go for retrenchment, whether I need to go for layoffs. Okay, so there are so many such decisions related to the corporate or the business which needs to be taken, and that is why it is called corporate level strategy. It could also be whether I need to move out to different locations, expansion of not only to different locations, could also be expansion to different products. Okay, here comes products, but then expansion to different products or diversifying into different products is also a corporate level strategy. It is not a business level strategy. Business level strategy is more pertaining to that particular product and what is the strategy that you're using for that particular product. But here, if I'm moving into bringing in newer products, it has to be corporate level strategy because it is actually defined, designed, directed by the top management. And then comes the actions for gaining competitive advantage. So whenever we talk about corporate level strategy, we have to also look at how are we going to gain competitive advantage. Because as a corporate, I am taking certain decisions, but then I also need to understand how do I really build my competitive advantage so that I'm able to bring in that market position for my organization and also build that above average returns for the company. Yeah, and also focus on, when we talk about corporate level, you have to understand mergers, acquisitions, takeovers. Okay. Also on global strategies, prepare on global strategies, multi-domestic strategy, transnational strategies. That was, I think, the a couple of sessions back, I think 2-3 sessions back, I had done this particular session on global strategy, multi-domestic and transnational. So international strategy, global strategy, multi-domestic strategy, and transnational. So if you look at international strategy, it is divided again into 3 aspects, that is global strategy, multi-domestic, and transnational. Okay. Also do opportunities, outcomes of international strategy. I think that's all. Prepare well for your exam. And once again, let me just see if I missed out anything. I think I covered all of them that are important. Yeah, also structure. That was the last session that I did, right? Structure of organizations. That also is important. And I think that's all. I leave it for you to ask questions. If there's anything that you would want to know further. Please go through the textbook and read the textbook. It's a very, very interesting book, well chosen by ITM for strategic management. Michael Hitt is a great author. You will not be bored reading the book, and it will always be helpful even in future. Okay, if there are no doubts, we sign off.
Yes, sir.
So wishing you all the very best for the examinations. Do well. You will be having a test. I think that is tomorrow probably. This is an internal test. And we need to give the, I think the internal test for all of you together. So that internal test is something that you need to appear for. Don't miss out, because this is very important. This is going to be an important part of your internal marks. So appear for the internal test. Don't miss it for any reason. Okay. And it's an online test.
Ma'am, what will be the time for the test?
I think it is about an hour. Let me just get back on this. Give me about 5 minutes. Hold on.
Sure.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.